To practice what we have seen about planning, replanning, expediting, de-expediting the priority plan, we will now do this exercise, which is composed of two parts. The first part is simply a case of establishing a priority plan. The second part will describe a situation with some issues that the planner can, which can occur to the planner. So let's start with the first part. We have 4 weeks. The lead time is 1 week for this part 1, and this part is used in 2 items, item X and item Y. 30 part 1 are used to assemble the product X, and 40 part 1 is necessary to assemble the product Y. This is the gross requirement for week 2, week 3, and week 4. 70 is the total of X and Y, 30X and 40Y, and after we have a combination of X and Y of requirements for X and Y, which is 60, and in the at week 4 we have a combination of requirements for X and Y, which is 50. There is a schedule receipt which is planned at week 2. We also have a projected available, which is 20, so it can be available until the week 2. Now we have to complete the records of this MRP with calculating the net requirement. The net requirement in week 2, at week 2, will be the gross requirement 70 minus 50 minus 20. So the gross requirement here is 0. Planned receipt is 0, and planned release here is 0. The projected available is 0 for week 3, and there is no schedule received, so the net requirement will be the same as the gross requirement, which is 60. 60 will be the planned order received at week 3, and while we have 1 week as the time, we should schedule the release at week 2. There is no scheduled receipts, there is no projected available, so net requirement will be equal to the gross requirement here. So 50, the receipt is 50, and planned release is 50. So it was a simple MRP recording completion that we did. Now we will see the second part of the exercise. As we said previously, in the second part of this exercise, we suppose that we are now on Monday morning of week 2, and we have an issue that which is that we found out that the scheduled receipt of 50 units of part 1 has been inspected and 20 have been rejected. There is a quality problem, so 20 units have been rejected. We need to replan what we did in the first part. So this is the result of our plan, our MRP for the first plan, for the first part. We had scheduled that there will be an order received at week 3, but no order received at week 2. In this part, we need to replan this MRP because there's a quality problem, and 50 on 50 of part 1, 20 have been rejected. So all what we did before is no more correct. So we have a first scenario. We can resolve this problem with two scenarios, possible scenarios. So the first one is to do the calculation this way. Now the scheduled receipt should be corrected. We only have 30 units which can be useful. Now the net requirement become 70 units minus 30 minus 20, so the net requirement is 20. The planned receipt is 20. But we cannot come back to the first week because this week is now in the past. We can do nothing here. Okay? The problem is that these 20 we cannot schedule a receipt because we cannot ask the shop to prepare it. So the net requirement is 20 and we don't have any solution to get these 20 units for part 1. So what is the solution? The first solution is to report these requirements to the next week. So this 20 should come here and becomes 20 plus 60. So here we will have the gross requirement for week 3 and we add the 20 which is the net requirement for week 2. This situation needs to replan for week 3 and for week 4. Now here the net requirement will be there is no projected available and there is no other scheduled receipts. So the net requirement becomes 80. The planned receipt will be 80 and we need to schedule it here in week 2. Okay, and here there is no change, 50, 50, and we need to schedule it at week 3, 50. This is the first way to resolve this situation. The second scenario, the second way is like this. So we will change the MRP and we will establish a new solution. So this solution is that we have the same problem. 20 is in the projected available and the net requirement will be, if we decide to keep this projected available in the inventory for week 2, so we will ask the customer to delay to the week 3 the deliver. So it will be now 20 here on the projected available the net requirements, we consider that is always 70. If we don't use the scheduled receipt and we don't use the projected available, we will keep the same net requirement, and this requirement will come here to be added to the third week. So if we ask the customers for product X and for product Y to wait another week, all the requirements for part 1 should be delayed to week 3. Week 3 we already have 60 units as requirements, so it will be now the addition of 60 which was already planned plus 70 which was delayed to this week. Now we need to do the calculation. The total here is 130. There is a scheduled receipt of 30 and there is a projected available which is 20. So 130 minus 30 minus 20, and the result is 80 units. 80 units should be scheduled. The planned order receipt should be scheduled at week 3, so the planned order release should be scheduled at week 2 for 80 units. Here is no change for the week 4 because we don't have any change in the projected available, any change on the scheduled receipts. So we have two scenarios. The first scenario consists of using the projected available and the scheduled receipts to satisfy a part of the requirement, and the scenario 2 consists of delaying all the processing for this part to the week 3, and we will satisfy no requirements for X and neither for Y. The question is, the first question was what action should be taken. So before, we will get a simplified interpretation of this situation. If we take things in general way, we can see that both of the two scenarios have the same result. So if we see here, we have the same results. But where we have satisfied only the orders of week 3 and week 4. In addition, the quantities and dates of the planning and the receipt of orders are the same for both scenarios. The problem is, if we look for the most optimal solution between scenario 1 and scenario 2, we will choose the first scenario. Why? Because even if we will not satisfy the order of week 2, but at least we will satisfy the demand for product X, because for this part, the part 1 is used 30 for product X and 40 for product Y. So here we will at least satisfied for one product. In the second scenario, we will satisfy no product requirement. So this is the interpretation that we can give of these two scenarios. Now we go to the questions. The first question is, what action should be taken? So in the first scenario, we must contact the customer and inform him or her that there is a change of the delivery dates to avoid penalties or complaints. Because here there will be a delay for at least one product, and here there will be a delay for both of products, X and Y. We can try to negotiate also and set new dates with the client. The second question is, who should be advised and consult about the shortage of part 1 in week 2 due to the rejection? I think the first thing to do is to consult and to inform the quality department and the quality team. It's important for them to find the root cause of failure and take corrective action. If this improvement may take time for you, the planner, you can force to increase the lead time, because this lead time of 1 week is probably not enough to make corrective actions and to negotiate with the client probably another delay. It's not good to always negotiate another delay. So to avoid reproducing the same situation, you need to discuss with the quality service, quality department, and to try or to find together what is the better way to avoid this situation in the future. So to summarize, in any plan you have to consider that there will be always some risks, some issues, and the plan is not always maintained as we established it the first time. You need to consider that these risks, these events, you should deal with, and you should replan, considering, of course, what is the best scenario. In this case, we saw how we can get the same results with two calculations way, but both these solutions, there is always one which can be considered better, because it's always better to satisfy at least one client than to try to satisfy all the clients and finally you satisfy anyone. So this is the solution for this exercise.